as said, Robert is from Austria. I think you're all about social. You're not an SEO, and you're not an analytics guy. You're really a social guy, a content guy. And I think this will be a fantastic talk. And now, that's a kind of interesting. So we have a couple of guys who were writing, I'm a 1.5, so which means between nerd and something else. And Ulrike was writing a 3. But please give Robert a warm welcome and how you get from nerd to artist. Welcome, Robert.
Thank you very much, Alexander, and thank you, and hello, everybody. I'm actually a little bit amazed and astonished to see so many of you there. I wonder why you turned into this keynote. As Alexander already said, I'm not a search guy. I'm an art historian. He forgot to mention this. So I'm an art historian. So if you really wonder how you can call me the professor. If you want to, you can call me the professor. This makes it a little bit more easy. And I have a lot in common with the professor from the Casa de Papel, because I also like to earn a lot of money. So then I switched from art history to online marketing, because you couldn't earn a lot of money in obviously in art history. And so I have, and Alexander was wrong in that one, I have a small search marketing agency. I thought about this today, and yes, I have a search marketing agency, and I'm specialized in one tiny little bit of search marketing, and that is increase search volume. I have no clue about backlinking, front linking, side linking, right linking, left linking, or analytics or anything, and iOS 14 privacy, whatever. All I can do is I increase search volume for my clients. So if your brand is not searched enough, I make sure people type it in wherever, on social, on Instagram, on YouTube, on Pinterest, so wherever. And a lot of the success I have is from an art historical background, because I learned a lot about the mechanics from how to be creative in online marketing in any field from artists. So if you look at artists, like here, Salvador Dali, I mean, he knew how Instagram postings would work 30 years before the first Instagram posting was actually made, or maybe even more time before. He knew cat content would rule. He knew that the facial expression is. He knew that you would be square. And so he was Instagram long before Instagram was even invented. So what you will get today in the next 50 minutes or so are 7 ways to be more creative, to transform from nerd to artist, to be more creative with your clients, with your company, in your life, whatever. And it's 7 lessons you can learn from artists. And at the end, I want you that you use your whole brain. I don't want half-wits to work out of this session. And so Alexander said, are you 1 or are you 2? This is a classical nerd question. You should have asked, are you 0 or are you 1? This would be even more nerdy. But it's not about being 1 or being 2. At the end, I want you to be both. I want you to be left brain, numbers, analytics, but I want you to be right brain as well. I want you to be hungry, creative, different, think outside the box. This is what we're going to do today. These are the 7 wonders of how to be more creative. If you are only left brain, and if you think, I think this is not what I expected from this keynote, because by the way, in this keynote, I will also give you some art historical background, so you take something with for your general knowledge of your life. So if you think, oh, I'm not this kind of guy, I think you can use this 1 hour for a super spreadsheet or analytics session. So I don't want to stop you from doing that. But if you stay with me, then maybe you crack open a bottle of absinthe, sit back, make yourself comfortable, and enjoy the show. If you have any question, if you have any remark in between, I would love that, because then I know I'm not just talking to the camera. And also there are some people there. Hello, Timo. Hello, Mark. Hi, Olaf, Tobias, Nadine. Happy to see you here. So, and you see, I'm an FC Liverpool as well. Yes, very much. Thank you very much. Some people are really observant. So here are the 7 things you learn from artists to transform into digital marketing so you can be more creative, you can be an artist. Number 1 is join the Salon of the Refugees. The Salon of the Refugees is, in English, it's the Salon of the Rejected. And in the late 19th century, so it was about 1870, 1880, the art world centered around Paris. And every year there was a huge exhibition of the best artwork, the best arts, the best paintings and sculptures. And that was called that salon. And in order to get into that salon, you had to meet certain requirements on how your paintings should look like, what style they were painted. And if you haven't met these standards, you were not admitted into the salon. And if you painted like these guys here, this is Claude Monet, The Sunset from 1872, the people said, oh, you don't come in the salon with this childish, boring part of painting. And so all these rejected painters had to do their own salon. This was called the Salon des Refugees. And history told us that now we know more about Monet, Manet, Renoir, Degas, and whoever was in the Salon of the Refugee than we know about these salon painters. So the first lesson you learn, I want you to be in the salon of the rejected ones. I want you to go out and do something different, change what you do, be more colorful, reject what the CEO says, what the branding department said, what the brand Bible says. Oh, the logo can only be 7 5-point pixel, or you're not going on my Instagram page. Then you make your own salon, and there's so much of the similarity in this world. So much in the digital world just looks the same. If you just look at the influencer world, now they all live in Dubai. They all have long, blonde, curly hairs. They make duck faces in front of all closed hotels, or they drive funny, fancy cars or whatever. So be different. And the second thing you can learn from the Salon of the Refugees, of the rejected ones, is it doesn't matter if some people don't like you. It doesn't matter if some people think, oh, this is too avant-garde, or this is not really good. So don't forget what I always keep saying, be someone's lover. Don't be everybody's darling. If you're everybody's darling, at the end, it will happen to you like the salon painters of the time. You will be forgotten at the end. Yeah? And the Impressionists, well, they got famous. And when you take that down to online marketing, so to always give you 1 or 2 examples what that means in online marketing is I just was, right before I was at a brilliant live session with Andy Jarvis, talking about features versus emotion, features versus creativity, features versus what that really means. And I included one of these examples. So what you see on here is the Google Trends search volume for 2 razor brands. And the red razor brand is a brand named Gillette. This is the worldwide Google Trends. It's the Gillette. And when you look at the advertising Gillette does, when you look at the Instagram account from Gillette, from the Facebook page, most what they do is they talk about features. They do talk about features all the time. I have this razor with a new bending neck that you can what blah 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 and whatever. And typically German on Instagram they say, oh, and it's from the Stiftung Warentest, from the Stiftung Warentest. It's a very good from. I don't know. I don't know anybody who likes the Stiftung Warentest apart from my 72-year-old mother. But anyway, it may be different. And then there's one brand, there's a blue one, and the blue one is a razor brand named Billy. And Billy never talks about features. In their advertising, they don't even talk about or show the product. But what they do is they give not a purpose, but they give what that means. And what it means for them is we are there for you when you need us. But it doesn't matter if you shave here, wherever. It's all your decision. That's what you have to decide. And so they changed the visuals of razor marketing and increased a huge increase of search volume and also a huge increase in sales. This is the most popular and most bought razor brand for young people because it totally changed the way you market razor, because we don't talk about features, you don't talk about products. What you do talk about is that I'll be there if you need me, but if you don't need me, it's also okay. So also we don't put pressure on, oh, you have to shave, you have to shave, you have to shave. It's your decision. We are there to support you. So this is number one. Join the salon of the refuse. The second one is called leave the comfort zone. Leave the comfort zone. You yourself, your clients, your content, your meetings. This is, by the way, Austrian artist Joseph Beuys, 1974. I like America and America likes me. What happened? Beuys went to New York in a plane. He was bundled up in the plane and carried by the feet out of the plane into a waiting ambulance on the airport. He was driven directly into a New York art gallery. He was carried up with his feet by a couple of assistants into a gallery, into a room, and he was locked into a room for 3 days with a wild coyote. And he spent there 3 days with a wild coyote alone. And after that, he was bundled up again, and he was brought back with the ambulance to the airport, and he flew back. So he never touched American soil apart from the 3 days in the gallery. For Beuys, the coyote was the spirit animal of America. And it's he wanted to sort of show how the white intruders deal with existing Native Americans, with minorities. So it's still a very contemporary topic, and it's still up to date. And this is something that you could also implement in, for example, your meetings you have. One of the companies I know quite well is Chrysler Electric. Chrysler Electric is known for one thing in particular. It's an Austrian-based company, and they make batteries. On the one hand, they make batteries for electric cars. They made the battery for the electric Hummer of Arnold Schwarzenegger. For that, they got quite famous. But they invent a lot of other things. Like last year, they won the Austrian Innovation Award by creating a machine that sucks in air at the one part and gives you fresh water in the other side. That they deliver for free to schools in Africa where there's a shortage of water. So turn water into air. So it's super high creative. And I had the chance to talk with the CEO, with Walter Kreisel once at the Austrian Innovation Forum. And I asked him, what are you doing in your company to keep the level of creativity high all the time? And he says, well, what I do, I constantly force my people to leave the comfort zone. Every meeting we have is a little different. Every meeting we have is, I'd be the first in the meeting room and I hide all the chairs. One day you come in the meeting room, there are just no chairs. So you have to stand. The next day you go in the meeting room and on the table, there are just bottles of whiskey or vodka or beer. And we have a creative session coming up. Oh, but it's only 9 a.m. Well, get you out of the comfort zone. The next time you have a karaoke machine in there. So make paradox intervention to get outside your normal lateral thinking. Because the problem is, most companies still say, oh, we make a little brainstorm. We all sit together and then we think, oh, we have what kind of cool idea we have. Maybe at times before the lockdown, people could walk around a room. But nowadays, you sit in front of Teams or Zooms or whatever. This doesn't make it better, This doesn't raise the level of creativity. And I would have different examples. There are different examples that can be done. How you can do online meetings different. You can do online meetings different. For example, a couple of companies started to do their online meetings in computer games. They said, hey, we can meet instead of Teams, we can meet in Red Dead Redemption 2. So that's nice because we can sit as cowboys in around the bonfire and drink some whiskey together, talk through the latest project, and maybe after the meeting we can together rob a bank. That's really nice if you work in the financial sector. Or I also like the companies that set up meetings in GTA, which is also cool. You can talk business, sell some drugs, drive fast cars, behave like you don't behave in real life. And that all sparks, at the end, creativity. So if you put people outside your normal life into something different, this usually helps. I tell this a lot to people. I often dress up, for example, in meetings. I put my wonderful thing. When I come to meetings, I'm often dressed up as a superhero. People find that super embarrassing, especially my kids find that super embarrassing. But if I'm dressed up as a superhero, usually this destroys the traditional mindset of people, and they were like, oh, he comes as a superhero, maybe we should do something crazy as well. So this one is the change you can do. So these were two. Two, be rejected and leave your comfort zone. And the third one is skip the beaten path. Skip the beaten path. Here, one of the most influential pieces of art by a female artist. This is Cindy Sherman. It's from the so-called untitled film, stills from 1976. If you want to know more about why this was so influential and why Cindy Sherman really skipped the traditional path and expectation from female artists, there's a brilliant book that's called The Sherman Effect. It was just published a few years ago. So what I would like to tell you with this example is that there is always more than the beaten path. I think Rand talked yesterday about this when he talked there is a lot more than the duopoly of Facebook and Google and Instagram and YouTube. There's a lot more, and I think we still overlook a lot outside of this beaten path. I would now advise company to even step away from Facebook and Instagram. If you just look at the Austrian youth monitoring, and it's not important that you can read the numbers. This is from 2021. You get the presentation anyway. The one thing I want you to see in that is there are 13 networks. There are 13 networks with over 20% users. So over 13 networks were used by over 20% of the people. So there's a lot more than that. And there are so many more dark horses out there than anywhere else, than outside of Google, of Instagram, of Facebook. And yes, there are some dark horses people don't see. And now I'm saying something, and my apology before if you already all do this, because in my very humble experience with the few clients I have and with the few companies I consult, I see there is one, it's not even a dark horse, that is widely overlooked, especially in Germany and Austria and Switzerland. And this is the German horse named Pinterest. I think this is the widest underrated network at all. This is the biggest quick win for all the company in times where shops are locked down, in times where people don't want to go shopping because they have to wear a face mask. Pinterest turned into the shop front of the internet, and still most companies that I know, it may be different. Honestly, it's just my blindsided opinion, especially in Germany and Austria, don't utilize that potential at all. Gardening, furniture, fashion, kitchen, bathrooms. Where are they? Where are you? Why not using? Why are you still on Facebook and on Instagram and trying to write a corporate blog? If there is a network that was made for Germans, Germany is #2 in the world by Pinterest use. Which other network is so typically German than anything else? So another one that people don't see is, for example, Reddit. I mean, I bet most of your clients haven't heard about Reddit until 1.5 months ago. And then Wall Street bets came, and then the GameStop came, and then people suddenly talked about, oh, there's another network. Oh, I've never heard of this. It's really weird. We have 15 million German users there. And I did a test once. I put content, and the same content from Red Bull Crashed Ice, I put it on the owned channel on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and just for a test on Reddit. And guess what? To everyone's big surprise, and to my big surprise as well, the Reddit content outperformed Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. And by far, this clip on Reddit that somehow made it to the front page by being voted up and up and up and up was the top viewed video we had in that year. So don't underestimate all these other things that there are. Don't underestimate gaming. There is no session in the SMX about gaming, about Twitch. There's no session about Reddit. There's no session about Pinterest, at least what I saw. Today Twitch announced new numbers. They grow by 80%. Any other network, maybe other than TikTok, that grows by 80%. There is so much marketing you can do on these networks. This was a great marketing campaign by Uber Eats when they used in the middle of the first fierce lockdown in the UK, when they used a Twitch own feature that was the so-called rating feature. So in the rating feature, you invite your followers to follow you into another account. So what Uber Eats did, they partnered up with 2 or 3 top game streamers, and in the middle of their game, they said, hey, let's go and give some love and some food to some of the poor souls out there that are locked down at home, sit there, play and stream, and only have 1 or 2 or 3 viewers. And so they give thousands of views, love and engagement in a time when they needed it most. And the reaction of these people, because it's all streamed live, you can watch this on Twitch and also some on YouTube. The reaction of the people when they sit and they play their game, and then they suddenly see, oh, we have 10 views, 20 views, 30 views, 100 views, 200 views, 500,000 views, 10,000 views, and they were like, oh, what happens here? This is so much social, and this is so much great content. So think about other networks than the one. I have another example that I really love. Spotify. Have you thought about Spotify as a marketing tool? Maybe not, because Spotify is just music. What can you do? Make a playlist. Me. Okay. But this is a wonderful example. Barilla. This is an Italian pasta company. They make noodles. No, they don't make noodles. Don't get me wrong. They make pasta. They make not noodles. The Chinese make noodles, and the Germans make noodles. Italians make pasta. Anyway, they make pasta. And they have a Spotify playlist, and they have a playlist for each of their products. You know what? The playlist is exactly the length you should cook the pasta al dente. This is very serious stuff for the Italians, because if you overcook it, you can throw it away. So this is quite important. This is an essential playlist. This is the essential playlist. And this is so closely linked to the product, and it's so nicely executed. So there is always another way to do it. There's always another way to do it. A lot of people say, oh, Snapchat, this is dead, as everything is Snapchat. You know, IKEA just launched a great campaign on Snapchat that's called Escape the Clutter. This is a cooperation with BuzzFeed. It's a filter you get on your phone, and with that filter, you can clean up your room and use IKEA products, use artificial intelligence, augmented reality. So it's a mixture. It's a funny game. And here is the thing. I enjoy that, and my kids enjoy it. And this is a very, very rare combination these days, because most of the things I enjoy, they find embarrassing. And most of the things they like, I don't understand. So this is one of the few things. This is one of the few things that we both enjoy. I really like, by the way, that I sparked a conversation about Martin and Benjamin here about the Google Trends. I knew this would happen, by the way. Yeah, this is use predictive analysis. I predicted the audience inside the SMX, and I thought if I put in anything about Google Trends, people will talk about this and this and this, and they'll come up with different results and whatever. The point is, you'll always find a reason why you think feature communication is better, but the point is not the Google Trends, but I love the discussion. Yeah, I love the discussion. So keep on with that. I love it. Maybe you come up, we can share it with Wilkinson, but you have to compare it with Venus. It's really interesting. Maybe someone could do a spreadsheet by that. Okay, we have 3 parts. Here is number 4. Salvador Dali. Here is one of the most famous Dali paintings. It's called The Persistence of Memory, 1937. It's The Persistence of Memory from 1937. No, Martin, it's always good to interrupt. I have no audience. So if somebody interrupts, I love that. I know you're not dead. I know I'm not dropped out of the line. So I love. That's good. I love that. Thank you very much for that. So Salvador Dali, great Spanish artist or Catalan artist, lives in Figueres in the Basque near Barcelona. If you ever go there, great museum there. Anyway, there's an interesting finding about surrealism. The finding is, by spending time with surrealistic paintings and surrealistic story increases your creativity. That sounds really weird and sounds like a little miracle, but there was a study conducted a few years ago by Scientologists in America, and then it was redone again in Germany. And so what they found out is that they had a group of people, and they divided this group of people into 2 groups. And the one group, they gave a text. And in this text, it was a short text, 3 or 4 paragraphs. It's about a doctor. And that doctor was woken up one night. And he said, oh, a child is ill, I have to go. And he ran into his carriage. He got with his carriage with a horse. Oh, and it gets really close. It's a very long way and hard. He goes through bumps. He barely makes it to the kid. He saves the kid. Ooh, everything is good. And it's a perfect Hollywood ending of a story. This was the one. The first 20 people got to read this story. And the second group of people got to read the same story, but they got to read it in the original version of Franz Kafka, and it's called A Country Doctor, on German, Der Landarzt, and it's a very short, very, very, very weird story. It's about a doctor who wakes up one night and he hears that somebody is ill, and he goes and he wants to get his horses, but his horses are all slaughtered up and they lie dead on the floor, and then he goes back into his house, and then the patient is suddenly in his house, and then he goes near the patient and his worms go out of his stomach. So it's typical Kafkaesque. Okay, so each spent 3 minutes reading that short story. And immediately afterwards, the Scientologists gave the 2 groups an exercise in creativity exercise. There are certain creativity exercises where you connect patterns and colors, and you do a brainstorming and you do ratings on that. So, and now comes the interesting part of that. The group that read, you can Google that. The group that read Kafka is double as creative as the one that read the other story. So this is my number 1 power winning tips for you, is you the next time, instead of reading the briefing from the client, read Kafka. And then read the briefing, or read the briefing and then read Kafka. Or I'll look at some Salvador Dali. And I do love Germany. I sometimes say something. Oh, yeah. Oh, Dominic, thank you so much. Did I say it's from Scientology? Now, of course, it's psychologists. Yeah, okay. It's of course not. Yeah, you know what I mean. Yeah, you know what I mean. Yeah, you know what I mean. This is sorry, my English. Yeah, it's a great story even with Scientology. It's even more funny with Scientology. Yeah, psychologist is the word. Yeah, anyway, psychologist. But maybe it was done in Scientology as well. And at the end, it's the same story. And at the end, you have to give all your money. That's the same experiment with Scientology. So, and if you do these kind of brainstormings, no, Kafka was a bit earlier, but you know, Scientology was also invented by a writer, by Alan Hubbard. So anyway, good. So now we come into nerd thinking. I knew that Scientology would trigger all the nerds in you. Anyway, we come to the Dali. So you read that, and then you come up with ideas. And then if you come up with super grotesque ideas, and I collected a few for you, one I really loved is there was a sports store in Sweden that opened 2 years or 3 years ago, and to make a promotion at the opening, they said, we care for the health of young people, and so we swap your drugs for gym equipment. So you come in with a 20 grams of marijuana or a bit of your coke or whatever, and we say, oh, you get these weightlifting sets here, I get this rowing machine for you, and all the kind of thing. So I have no particular result list for that. I don't know if it really worked out or was just a PR stunt, but if it was just a PR stunt, then it was one that worked. But even in Austria knew about this store. Or what I also like, there's a YouTube channel. I don't know if it's still very active because of all the GPDA whatever thing, but there's a department store in London, Harvey Nicholson, and they launched a YouTube channel. And instead of making image videos and instead of making videos of their happy customers, what they did, they published all the videos from shoplifters. They got a lot of shoplifters on the security cameras, and they published all the shoplifter video. They get a tremendous amount of views, and there's also a nice brand messaging in that, because we are so valuable. People steal from us. So I really like. And the last one I also love is think about, you have a hotel, and when you have a hotel, there are a lot of things you can do in online marketing. Booking.com, Expedia, you can Google hotels, Google ads, you can do whatever. You can go to agencies specializing. It's a hard business. How will you get the name of your hotel well known? And of course, you can be, I'm not telling the Hans Brinker Budget Hotel. We already know this is the shittiest hotel in the world. But there's another one that just recently opened near Moscow. And near Moscow, it's a cool one. It's the world's first Trivial Pursuit hotel, and that has a unique concept. The Trivial Pursuit concept is like this: you pay a flat rate for the room, so all the rooms have the same price. So you book the room, it's like 60 euros, but they have a huge variety of rooms. They have super nice, cool suites with a nice view and a private spa. And they have really, really shitty rooms with no window and no toilet. And when you come to the hotel, you have to play Trivial Pursuit. And depending on how clever you are, how many questions you answer, you get an upgrade to a better room. And if you're really stupid, you have to sleep in a basement with no window. This may not be the concept for all hotels in the world, but it still made the internet headlines and still made a peak in search volume. So this is be like that. So we have a fifth one. I love that one. Destroy the barriers, cross the borders. This one, a masterpiece of art. This is Marcel Duchamp, 1917 already. Hey, notice 1917. It's called the Fountain. Yeah, it may look like a toilet, yeah, but it's a piece of art. So what Duchamp made, he put a so-called ready-made into the museum and said, "This is art." So he opened up the discussion about what is the real life, what is the art life, what is art, what is not art. This was so much internet. I mean, even today, if I post this on Instagram and say, "Oh, I love this. This is my most famous piece of art," and I say it again, if I post it on Facebook, let's say, like on Instagram is not. If I post it on Facebook and say, "This is a great piece of art," all the people that demonstrate against the corona, and then they think Bill Gates is behind all the virus, they will say, "Oh, this is not a piece of art. This is just this is a real shit. No, it's a piss. I take a piss." Blah 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 blah. So this is still very contemporary. And still is. So what he did, he crossed the borders between the real life and the art world. And today, a lot of things have success that cross the border between the digital world and the real world. There was one campaign in particular last year that caught my eye, and it was in one of the most difficult environments, and this was in tourism. There was one campaign that really stood out, that did not say, "Now we are open back," or that did not say, "Hey, let's make a virtual tour." Honestly, I like virtual conferences, but virtual traveling, I mean, let's be honest, and especially if I have seen it 100 times, I'm fed up with this. I've done it, yeah? No, we have an art historian here. I have an art historian here. Of course, a lot of the art that Marcel Duchamp did was done ironically, and it was done to spark the conversation about it. So, okay, but which tourism campaign you still remember? I remember only one, and this is this one. This is "Let It Out" by Iceland. Iceland is a small remote island. You know that, a great destination to go there. And the thing is, what they did is, you were in the middle of the lockdown, and they said, "We feel with you. We understand. We Iceland. We understand that it's super frustrating. So we give you a whole island, Iceland, to let it out. We take all the pain from the world and give it to Iceland." And so what they did, they collected the digital world with the great nature sites, with technology, and mix that all together. So at the most famous sites of Iceland, they put in big speakers, big loudspeakers, a microphone and a webcam. And on the website of Let It Out, you could scream, "I hate the coronavirus, ah!" You could scream like that. And then you could decide, "I want this to be played near this wonderful waterfall in the fully desert island landscape." And then you could watch, we could watch it on the webcam. And this is so super nice. This combines real life experience with a very open idea, technology, YouTube, and whatever. Yes, Adam, drinking in meetings is a requirement at some meetings, not at all. But in this, for example, absinthe, as I said before, would be very nice. Anyway, so number 6, be contemporary. What does that mean, be contemporary? This is maybe Banksy. We don't know. Banksy, we don't know. We guess it's Banksy as an adoption. But the secret behind the success of Banksy is that he is super contemporary. What he does is, he's always at the time. It's always almost real time. He puts the finger where it hurts. I think it was a German expression I literally translate in English anyway. But you understand it. So he puts a finger. He is showing us the problems, right? He's contemporary. And so a lot of brands try to be mainstream. A lot of time we cater a very particular audience, the majority here. Now I feel like a weather commentator. This is coming up here. We will have heavy rain shower coming up. Okay. So If you are an artist, you always go for the early adopters. If you want to be a great artist, you go for the early adopters. You don't go for mainstream. At one point, you will attract mainstream, but if you want to be a trendsetter, always go for the early adopters. And that means if there is something on the horizon, something that is a trend now, do it now and don't wait until it's mainstream. Two things here. The one thing is a posting by Gillette. Remember when I said sometimes it's too late to be like that? Of course, now when everybody is talking about body positivism and everything, of course they have a tattooed girl. I love that. And maybe they even say she's a lesbian, but we don't know. Yeah, or transgender would even be nice. Yeah, but this one, and this is not to blame that. I just show you the difference between mainstream and early adopters. This is a 2021 posting of the International Women's Day, and it's so stereotypical how you would imagine a posting. You have a few women, they're wearing helmet, and they pose like men. Oh, we are strong like men. This is so much not 2021. This is mainstream 2021, when even the last company in the world says, oh, on one day in the year, yes, one day in the year, we always celebrate the female world. If this would have been done 15 years ago, this would have been cool, but this is not the feminism of Janina Kugel today. So think about, be contemporary. Don't be mainstream. Don't try to cater everything. And even big brands do this. Even if you look at some of the Nike advertising, there was a clip by Nike last year. This was the Kaepernick clip. And if you just look at some of the stills in here, this is not a mainstream clip. It's not. And we all agree Nike is a mainstream brand. They live because a lot of young people, mainstream and old people, everybody buys their sportswear and their shoes and whatever. But when it comes to marketing, especially online, a lot what they do is they go for early adopters. They speak with images that appeal a certain audience, not mainstream. Mainstream hates this, but early adopters like it. And if they manage to keep early adopters close to the brand, that the early adopters keep wearing Nike, then the mainstream that always look for guidance from the early adopters, then they will still continue to wear it. So don't be afraid to target early adopters instead of mainstream. I don't know if you were the German, the Berliner Verkehrsbetriebe, and it's just before the presidential election in America, and you write something like, as a governmental company, we cannot express wishes for a certain candidate, so we'll wish both of them good luck. And those of you who speak German know that the word both means beiden in German. And with a little trick in the graphic, there is a star over one of the letter. It reads, so they vote for Biden. So it's a funny one. And the funny one about this one is, can you see this at the bottom? You know where they published it? It's a platform, it's called Twitter. You know Twitter? Isn't Twitter super dead? Is not Twitter the deadest of all the dead donkeys that are in the world? Yeah. Anyway, maybe nothing is really dead. Maybe only your content is dead. So we come to the end, finally. I drink some of my vodka. Oh, good. Homemade. Anyway, the last one is Steal Like an Artist. There's a book about this, has the same title. It's called Steal Like an Artist. And it's about how you get to new ideas. And the thing is, how you get new ideas is by copy and adapt. Not copy and paste. Don't copy and paste, but copy and adapt. So what you see here in the background is, what is it? I reward you with some Mozartkugeln if you know this. What part of painting is this? So it's one of the most famous. Type in the answer now. Which one is it? It's from Pablo Picasso, and it's not called Nostrovia Olaf, but it's almost close to that. Yeah? It's also a single letter name. It's not called Nostrovia. Anyway, if you know it, and Pablo Picasso was the most infamous thief under all artists, because what? Thank you, Frederica, Claudia, Tobias, Oliver. Woo! It's part of the Guernica, 1937. It's one of the most striking images of all time. If you ever have a chance to see it live, that's okay. Anyway, so Picasso was a thief, the biggest thief, because when he saw a new style, a new concept, he was a master in adapting that concept and make it better than the original. It went as far as that his fellow artists, like Georges Braque, when Picasso came into his studio, Braque hid all the paintings. They didn't show the paintings to Picasso, because when Picasso thought, oh, this is great, oh, Cubism, I haven't thought about this, I can do it, and he did it better. Be like Picasso, copy and adapt, and then you are better. Where can you get your ideas from? Well, you can get your ideas from, obviously, from new trending platforms like TikTok. I spend a lot of time on TikTok looking for new content ideas. I especially enjoy this is like a little inside trick, the not locked in view on my desktop rather than my locked in on the mobile phone, because of course in my own TikTok account, TikTok knows what I like, and so I usually get the same type of content again. So this is one thing, and the other vast library of creative content is Vimeo. I also spend 15-20 minutes a day browsing through Vimeo, the stuff pics. There's a channel called Nowness about culture. There is the Eye Candy channel. So there's a lot of cool ideas. Also, how visuals are nowadays turned, how text is inserted in this. So even these small little pieces, you can see what seems to be modern at the day, what is mainstream, what is still in the salon of the refused ones. So, and the last tip from me is when I find an idea and I think, oh, maybe that could work, I'm a big fan of rapid prototyping. I do a lot of rapid prototyping and a rapid prototyping is never a word. An idea is never a word file. Yeah, don't forget. No great idea ever in life other than was ever done on a Word file. Huh? Great ideas may come on a scribble on the paper. You can build it. Maybe you could do it in PowerPoint. Maybe that's better. But it's not just a Word file. You can build a prototype rather fast. And what I always do is, at one time I discovered a trend about building things with plastiline on TikTok, and I spent then 8 hours to do a quick test on this. And so you don't want to know what my wife said when she saw me with the plastiline a whole day. Okay. Anyway, but I tried it, and then I say, oh, this works. I put it out and I get 100,000 views and say, oh, this is a cool thing. We could do this. Stop motion with plastiline is super. It's a trend now. It was a trend a year ago. It's not a trend now. So we made a project with a client. I tested it. I rapid prototyped it. I showed him my TikTok profile. I said, this is how it works. I already tested it. It has 100,000 views, and I have only 17 people who follow me. So do rapid prototyping. So we're at the end of this talk. So there are 2 key takeaways. In order to be an artist, you have to risk something. You have to be on the edge. Maybe you even have to be edgy to do that. So be edgy, be different, be brave. And the second thing is, artists do things. No one ever became an artist by reading a lot of books about art history. So I'm an art historian, but I'm no artist. And so I doubt that you can be a great online marketer by reading a lot of books about online marketing or a lot of blogs or a lot of online reviews. If all my knowledge about TikTok is what I have read about it, I have no knowledge because I've never even touched it with my own hand. The last and most important thing I want you to take away, try things out. If there is something new, then embrace it, try it out, take it in your own hands, make your own hands dirty and play with it and have fun. At the end, I hope you be in your left brain, still the nerd to have all the numbers and all the optimization because without that, a great campaign will never work. But be both, link that together, be left and right, be a full brain, be an artist, be a child, be you. And my grandma always said, thank you very much. It was a pleasure for me. It was unfortunate I don't see you. Mwah. I'm a guy who likes to hug people. I really like people. I don't like the lockdown. I'm a friend of people. I like to be close to people. And so I miss you so much. Thank you so much for paying attention. Thank you.
So, just have a look in the chat, Robert. Huh?
Thank you.
Yeah, that's kind of virtual claps and of course virtual hugs. A super fantastic presentation. If my green screen would be a little bit taller, I would stand up now and say super, but I can't because it's too short. It's hard to have any question now, but I have two things. Andy, I think Andy was asking, just for a friend, not for himself, if there's a shop that swaps maybe the other way around. So gym kits for
drugs.
I think this was the intention. He was just asking for a friend.
He's looking for... I think there might be some shops in Amsterdam who still can still do that. Yeah.
Actually, I love the Triple Pursuit Hotel, which is kind of a funny thing. And the interesting part is, I think you were saying Pablo Picasso was the biggest stealer, right?
Yes.
I think you could word it another way around. So I think Isaac Newton was saying, I was standing on the shoulders of giants, which is maybe something similar. So just let me see if there's any questions. So Martin has a question. Do your recommendations work for all size of companies? Actually, was this a recommendation for us or was this a recommendation for companies? Your talk.
This was a recommendation for all of us, either as a business leader, as a client, as somebody who works with clients. I think to introduce a little more creativity, a little more thinking outside the box, which we all say that all the time, but we hardly people ever do this. And yes, Martin, it does work for most of them. I have clients, very small clients, typical Mittelstand in Germany or in Austria, also in not so fancy brands that works for them, but also by big brands like the one that gives you wings. So yes, it works for all kind of brands, not for all kind of mindset. And I want to add one more thing about the platforms, about the different places, because people always ask me, and I read this question also in Rand's keynote yesterday, which platform do you recommend? Is there a good platform or a bad platform? And the answer is really super simple. There is no bad platform. There are only the wrong people with the wrong content. This is always the answer. Yeah, you can be a hairdresser and be hugely successful on LinkedIn when you cater certain business clients. Yeah, but you don't have to be on Instagram.
An interesting question from Alex. He was asking, how do you keep yourself creative? Is this a mindset or something like saying, oh, this is a day for being creative? I need some inspiration, then it's...
For me, techniques work different. For me, it's important to really plan the time ahead where I have the freedom to be creative. Not always it works then. Yeah. For me, if you have ever worked with me, I don't know if somebody is here who knows me, but if you have ever worked, I have a strange habit. I do talk with myself. If you see me on the street, I constantly talk with myself. If I'm on the bike, I speak with myself. If I'm running, I speak with myself. So for me, a lot of things comes through speaking. I give presentations to myself. I pitch ideas to myself. And sometimes I have two voices. I have the client, I have myself. So this helps me. For me, handwriting helps a lot. I scribble things. But the thing is, what I cannot do, some people can. I cannot sit on a desk and say, oh, now I write something here and that's creative. Most of the times I have to go outside. I have to go on the mountain. Maybe I drink a beer and then I think, and maybe I don't think about the problems. And then I come from one to the other.
For me, actually, the best is sitting on my bicycle and listening to podcasts. So maybe the best idea is we record your session and you all guys out there, you sit on your bike and listen once again to Robert's podcast. I have one final question.
Here you go.
I'm one of these more boring nerds, and I watched a couple of videos, and I'm not an artist and nothing like this, but I watched some videos about artists more from the music part, like the Defiant ones, which is about Dr. Dre and Jimmy Iovine, so there were a lot of musicians, and the Queen movie, because that's my age. My impression was that besides all this creativity, there was one more factor. They were obsessed about perfection. Is this? What do you think about perfection related to creativity?
I had initially my talk had 8 points, but I like 7 more than the number 8, so I skipped one part. Yeah? And the 8th part was be like Leonardo, because Leonardo painted over 3 years on the Mona Lisa. Okay. And it's, it's a Mona Lisa like this. Yeah. It's super small. What did he do? He paints once a week? No, he was obsessed with perfection. He was obsessed with not finishing things. It's also related with you are never done. You're never done. This is, for me, it's not only perfection, but the thing is, you can always be, it's never done. The work is never really completed. And that way, that helps. It's definitely one of the treats from artists. Yes.
Yeah. Super, Robert. Well, thanks very much once again. Super inspiring talk. And now we go for our next sessions. Big applause for Robert. Thanks. Super.
Thank you so much.